Shadiversity.
The bells have sounded. It's great. We get to actually fight zombies. They're at the walls. Like
Okay. Well, we've got all the weapons. Settled down. We've got all the
Good,
weapons.
good.
I'm ready.
Good.
Oh, wow. You're looking good, Shad.
Thank you.
You ready to fight?
Well, why do you think I'm in this? All my full gear.
Because you
why?
want to get face to face with a zombie? That's a bit close.
No. Why are you guys in your armor? Like, one of the best things to fight against zombies is actual armor. You reckon they're gonna bite through this?
I don't want to get that close. And plus, it's like a survival thing. Like, I don't want to be wearing heavy gear 24/7.
What if you get swarmed? Like,
Yeah,
there's 20 of them. You might be able to deal with one or two.
Run the gap.
But then, when all the other zombies jump on you and try and like dig their teeth and everything, you can just be like, still hidden, and you're killing them all, and they're trying to bite you, and they can't do it because you're wearing armor.
What's your endurance stat again?
Infinity.
Oh, right, okay, yeah, sure.
All right, but we've got all these weapons here.
You see me in videos? When do I ever run out of energy? Okay, they've seen me after videos. That's different.
We cut just as Shad runs out of energy.
We cut, and then I die. But my point is, when it's go time, I'm on. Bit of background though, guys. This is actually coming out of a discussion we were having in the studio, and we realized we need to make a video out of it because there's a lot to actually discuss.
Well, usually when we have conversations, they turn into a little bit of discussion, then into arguments, and then into, justification. So we thought, why not do a full video on our thoughts on zombie apocalypse weapons and what you would use, specifically more medieval weapons.
What medieval weapon would you use in a zombie apocalypse? And I mean, armor is not a weapon, but that just should be a standard. Just on the whole, armor, technically Tyrant is wearing a type of medieval armor.
I'm wearing a gambeson. Now, a shield as well.
Yes, yeah. But you're not going to bite through, even the thin gambeson, you're not going to bite through.
You're not.
No.
Nothing's going to get
Do you
through.
reckon a dog could get through it?
Yes, but just their teeth, and then they would really hurt. Or
Then maybe a
zombie
zombie could get through it.
Depends on the dog.
We're not talking about chihuahuas here.
Well, you just said dog. Actually,
I would rather, in all honesty, trust a shield that is far more easy to replace, far easier to discard if you get caught in trouble to protect you versus a horde of zombies than I would armor that's going to puff me out and about.
And you can
Puff you out? I'm insulted, sir.
Me and Nate know what's up.
Yep.
Anyways. All right, so we've
You
got.
wouldn't want to disguise your armor anyway.
You wouldn't want to, but if you had to.
If you had to.
I mean, I know I can swim across a river perfectly fine. You can't. You're in a gambeson. You'll sink.
You can swim a little bit enough.
Yeah, a little bit.
No, that might be worth something testing.
It will be, but let's chat in another video. Right now,
So,
do we want to start?
I have a question. Should I keep the helmet on through the whole video?
No.
Because
No.
there is a discussion on can you convey emotion with a helmet on.
It is
And so, wait, let's test this. I'm going to try and do an emotion, and I want you guys to tell me what it is. Ready?
Constipated?
Come on.
Oh, okay. Oh, sorry, I was wrong.
Oh, what emotion was that?
Well, part of it was vision impaired, but that's not an emotion.
You're right, I'll show you.
Very caricatured shock.
There, shock. Okay. What about this one? Bit more subtlety.
Concern.
Yeah.
I couldn't see anything.
There was a slight head twitch.
I couldn't see. I don't do social cues, all right?
We're not autistic here.
What about this one?
I don't know.
Friday night skit.
Okay, this is the important one.
Oh, yeah. The old, yes.
Yes.
Proven! You can emote with a helmet on.
You can, yes.
Now back to the
Back
video.
to the video, yes. Did you want to?
So I better just keep my helmet on through the whole video then.
Don't. It's distracting.
Why? Because you can't see what I'm doing to you right now?
Yes. And you're muffled, your voice.
I didn't see!
His face was covered.
I got you, man.
Anyways, back to the weapons. Alrighty. I think, why don't we go with 2 weapons? We'll pick 2 weapons. Why don't we have a little bit of discussion, what we think.
Sure.
But then at the end, pick 2 weapons that we would personally go with.
Is armor a weapon? Is a shield a weapon?
Okay. A shield can be used offensively as a weapon.
But in
armor,
this
less so.
context-
You can like try and bash people and stuff, but
I mean, you got those cod pieces. That would be devastating to see in armor, but that's something else.
I would say specifically we're talking about dedicated weapons for the most part. A shield, and they can double up, but
I got a
weapons.
freebie. He's got a gambeson. I got a shield.
I
you
think
got
though,
plate.
if you pick a one-handed weapon, and we're talking about medieval, weapons and everything, you should always have the option to say, I'm using a shield with it.
You are using a shield. You got armor on.
I'm wearing the shield.
Yes.
All right. So this is my freebie then.
Where do we want to start? Because we've got
We got a nice array of weapons here. And so there's actually a number of things to consider about this. Zombies, they're resilient. What kind of zombie are we going to be talking about here? I kind of say zombies.
Night of the Living Dead type zombies.
I mean,
or-
yeah.
28 days later.
Oh, no, thank you.
I reckon some faster zombies. Okay.
So it's kind of a medium then.
Medium.
What about Zombieland?
Yeah. What about do they die when you take out their brain?
Yeah,
Yeah.
I would say most zombies do.
Most zombies die when you take out the brain.
So it's decapitation or head crushing or chopping the head, like scalloping
Yes.
the head off.
I think it also matters what type of disease, plague they have. Because if it's something like The Last of Us, that's kind of just in the air.
Yes,
Whereas
not
the
Last of Us.
ones that bite you or things like that.
I
Or
think
if we're
biting.
talking-
Biting is the zombie infection
Key
thing.
thing.
This is a very nerdy video today.
Of course, that's.
Maybe. All right.
Who do you think subscribes here?
We're talking about what weapons would we use in a hypothetical situation.
course!
Let's go through the zombies.
What? What? It's not like we haven't talked about fighting dragons before, or goblins, or.
I'm just settling
You
in
have.
if
We
it's
haven't
the
had a
first time
chance
here.
to yet.
Yeah.
We will. But if that's the case, then yes, I'm definitely going to want a gambeson. I'm going to want padded trousers because they're easier. I'm going to want a gambeson. I'm going to want long sleeves. I'm probably going to want as much padding as possible.
My argument is that I actually think a medieval world would be able to deal with a zombie apocalypse better than our modern world.
Yes.
Thicker fabrics. Nice.
Thicker fabric,
Well-
armor is around more. Castles are like
Yeah.
just checkmate for zombies, right?
Yeah.
Unless the zombies figure out how to use catapults and send themselves over the wall.
I've always been doing like, how effective would a gun be to kill a zombie? Because I like how much brain damage do you need to do to kill a zombie? Like,
I
would
feel like-
would single bullet do it?
Yeah,
if it's
exactly.
by head?
I feel like you're talking about that whole 9mm puts a hole in people. What is it? 7.62 puts a hole through people, and a shotgun just takes off chunks. You would need a shotgun.
No, see, like shotguns don't usually blow the face apart. It can blow the front face, the face off, but it's not going to go through the skull too well and mess up the brain. The brain is the target, remember? But anyway, so that's guns. Talk
But
about
then
weapons.
you gotta see. This is why you get into the weeds because the zombie is using the senses of the face, sight, smell, things like that, and it uses it to bite you. So if you smash off the face, I mean,
Okay, yeah, good point. Good point.
see what I mean here?
Well, there's all these things, but now that we have a kind of baseline of the damage you need to do to kill a zombie, we now are looking at the weapons, and there's a couple of weapons that I think are going to be taken off the list pretty quickly.
Okay, well, why don't we go through? A rapier? Yes,
Yep.
I would agree with this.
Rapier can cut, but it's not going to cut off a head very easily,
Not without trained skill.
and straight behind
But
it.
even then, it's all relative, but the
Yeah.
damage that a rapier does is to a person. So when you get cut, you immediately, even with adrenaline, you can.
yeah.
With a zombie, they're just going to be like, yeah, whatever.
Exactly, and
So-
internal punctures.
Yeah.
It seems like zombies, they do not die from nearly any amount of internal injury. So I think a rapier is off the list.
Off.
What about a whip?
That's exactly what I was thinking. We've got, you can try to tie them up, give them little stings as they're approaching you.
As a weapon?
Useless.
As a weapon, no. A bit more
As a crowd control versus people.
I don't know.
Keep in mind, in the apocalypse, you're going to want a weapon that can also double as a tool to survive.
Exactly.
Something like a whip, I can see the utility in it, but as a pure weapon for defending yourself,
Killing a zombie.
On that note, I think that something like a dagger should be just classified as a tool.
is this a dagger?
You know-
I thought this was a big butter knife.
Well, it's a
In the apocalypse for cooking?
reenactment one so that I can actually do this
Oh.
to you.
If you want a dagger,
See, I wouldn't do that with that. That's sharp.
they want this dagger.
This one,
This could kill a zombie, I reckon.
Oh,
It's got-
You are way
Ooh.
too close. You're way too close to a zombie. I would still like that as a backup weapon.
Yeah, in close quarters. But like if you could, I don't know, get it in between the neck, brain stem
And then
thing.
lever it. Yeah, yeah.
Maybe like it's going to be more difficult though with this. It's hard to chop off a head with this. But because we are discounting weapons, I think there is one weapon that gets discounted even
Well,
before
hang on,
this.
no, well, if we're talking that, we also have to sort of go into short swords because the length is very, very close. Like, you know.
It is,
I mean,
but
inches matter, ask any guy. But, you know.
Look at the weight concentration of the short sword there, right?
Okay,
that
let's come back to
increases
this
its
then.
chopping capacity
Good point, let's
significantly.
come back to it.
One of the weapons that I think will be off the list pretty quickly is the bow and arrow. Even war bows, you're not
Now-
going to take out a brain too easily.
I have a caveat with this because, you know,
Flaming zombies?
well, no. In a zombie apocalypse, is it the zombies that are going to get you or the survivors? You know, so having something like this, you know, not bad.
That makes it tricky, doesn't it?
It does.
So we start talking about the zombie and the apocalypse.
All right,
Part
but
of the zombie
look,
apocalypse.
the thing is though, this is legitimate just against zombies flat.
Okay,
Okay.
against zombies.
Against
then
zombies,
yes,
this is not going to pull.
Humans have actually finally teamed together. We finally agree.
Yeah.
You know, while we're talking about weapons in the zombie apocalypse, this is important. You want to spend your time on the type of weapons that you want, right?
Yes.
Right? What you don't want to do is have to worry about all the other things. Well,
Going out and going shopping.
one of the biggest problems in a zombie apocalypse would be food. Like, let's be honest, right?
Yes.
You just can't eat zombies. They'd be rotten and
That's
disgusting.
right. Yes.
But if you could have the food delivered to you, like HelloFresh, that would be amazing, and that's who's sponsoring this video. But to make it interesting, okay, the question is, because HelloFresh makes dinner cooking really easy. They've got delicious recipes. Even someone who's as bad at cooking as me can make it, right? But could someone who doesn't have a brain be able to cook HelloFresh?
Like a zombie.
Like a zombie? Could it?
Zombie, yeah.
Because it makes it that easy. Could a zombie cook HelloFresh?
Let's find out.
Let's find out.
We've got some food right here, right? And it's going to be very tasty. Who invited the zombie? Did you invite the zombie? What's that? No, look. Oi, look, fine, no, look. He wants to do it his way, fine, all right? Let him do it his way.
Okay, so jokes aside, HelloFresh has got great variety and it's super convenient. Each HelloFresh box is packed with farm fresh ingredients and everything arrives pre-proportioned right to your doorstep. It's less hassle and overall less wasted food.
You disgust me.
So whether you're trying to save money, eat better, or stress less, HelloFresh is here to help you do all three. Indeed, you could say hello to your most delicious year yet, with fresh ingredients and chef-curated recipes, and seriously, such variety in these recipes. All at a price you'll like, delivered right to your door.
You want to cook your meat now? You know, ever since you ate that chef yesterday, you've been acting very strange. I can't read.
And on top of all this, with breakfast being the most important meal of the day, HelloFresh agrees. In fact, they're giving all subscribers free breakfast for life. That means you'll enjoy a totally free breakfast item with every single HelloFresh delivery. All you need to do is go to HelloFresh.com and use code SHADIVERSITY for free breakfast for life. One breakfast item per box while subscription is active. That's code SHADIVERSITY free at HelloFresh.com for free breakfast for life. I first tried HelloFresh with one of their promo deals and I've used it ever since. No more staring blankly at the fridge wondering what to make for dinner. All you have to do is give HelloFresh a try and dig into their biggest menu yet with over 45 recipes to choose from each week.
I'll try it. Oh, that's lovely, that is. For this one time, I'll eat cooked meat. It's actually very good.
So remember, if you want to give this a go to HelloFresh.com and use code SHADIVERSITY free for free breakfast for life. One breakfast item per box while subscription is active. That's code SHADIVERSITY free at HelloFresh.com for free breakfast for life. Definitely worthwhile, it's delicious, and thank you to HelloFresh for sponsoring this video.
Okay, so short swords are an interesting one. Just like, if we have a look at this short sword here, that has good cutting capacity. You could actually, with a couple of swings, take off a head with that. I'm not kidding.
Yes.
Yeah, all right.
And that's why I brought the cutlass out, because I kind of dig something around this length. It's a bit longer.
It is.
It's very lightweight. It can be used as a tool for clearing brush, doing whatever you're doing, while at the same time, this can do some damage.
It depends on the weight. That one is a particularly lightweight cutlass and would have a bit more trouble getting through. But in the realm of short swords, right, you can get short swords that have weight. Have a feel of this one.
Yeah, this thing is a monster.
It's
This
a monster.
Is not,
This is actually a zombie sword that they sell it as.
like this thing, I feel like is too heavy. This long sword is lighter, and you get more blade.
All right, so then on the note of longsword, we're in there just realm of swords. We'll get to that. We'll get to that. Okay, but
Putting one aside.
this is an important question. Is a sword a good pick against zombies?
Because I've already thought this through, and I already know what my choices are.
I wasn't here for this preview conversation, so
We're having it now.
I know, but you guys had pre-prep time.
No, we didn't. I was thinking about it while you were getting ready. I wouldn't go with a sword like this, a long sword, an arming sword, a bar sword. I wouldn't go with something like that. I would, however, go with something like a claymore.
Okay, so what we are coming to is that the size of the sword matters.
Anybody who's unfamiliar with a nice claymore, they are relatively
Or
lightweight.
great sword.
Or great
basically.
sword, yep. What brings it over the line for me personally is the blade length. Because if I break this blade, I can then fix it.
I have two swords.
I have two swords now, basically. I have a knife and I can fix up the tip and create a new sword.
Okay,
That's what gets it over the line
I think
for me.
a sword could kill a zombie quite effectively, depending on the type of sword. You want a sword that can cut well, and so this is a good cutter. Arguably, which is better, Messer, these are usually
because you got two edges.
you reckon
Yep.
2 edges for utility?
Yep.
Because I've always maintained that.
Well, no, it's just because if you use one as a primary edge all the time, once that goes blunt, you have a second one until you get time to sharpen the other one up.
I've
Thinking about
always
things tactically.
maintained that a katana is actually a good pick in a zombie apocalypse because it's a more cut-focused sword, and that would mean that the Kriegsmesser would be a good pick. Though I do have a big caveat that might take swords off the
Well,
table.
these are going to be useless in a zombie apocalypse versus zombies.
Yes.
Like, unless they're sword fighting zombies.
I would say
So-
that there is a caveat with swords as a category, and that is the edge itself. Hitting something like bone, hitting something like that, you're going to chip edges.
So you don't want an edge profile that fine. You want something
Actually, that does depend. Soft bone is more like wood than dried bone. Dried bone feels like rock, but soft bone, would zombies have soft bone or like they are
They'd
mushy
have-
still?
They're mushy. They would have soft bone, like
Yeah.
Not,
Are
not
they
like,
though? Because they have exposed bone all over.
Oh. So it's going to be very.
It's going to be dependent on how tough their
They
bones
have
are.
semi-soft.
Bigger swords, right? Like we're looking at the katana. If you're going to go katana range, you would want to go katana, tashi. This has got more cutting capacity, better reach, effectively just as maneuverable.
No. So
Why?
I'm going to completely disagree with both of you. So you started to go on the right track. I love the idea of having a backup sword. So something like a bastard sword
this
or
is a
an
nice
arming
katana.
sword is going to be great. But as soon as you go big sword, you're going to have to use big energy to keep that moving.
Okay.
Which means, because you're no longer going lots of fine movements versus a skilled swordsman, you're just cleaving into hordes of people.
You
How,
are, Nate.
how long do you think you'll be able to chop
So
with that?
this is the thing, Nate. You're touching on one of the primary issues that might discount swords completely as a truly effective weapon in zombies. Imagine you're being rushed by a horde of zombies. But all right, not even horde. 5 zombies, right? The stopping capacity of a sword, even a big sword like this, you get one solid swing in, I reckon you could take it down one zombie, but
Or 2.
going through the entire body of a zombie is not likely. It's possible with a really sharp sword.
For a thrust or a slash?
Slash.
Oh, yeah, obviously.
Now I'm
'Cause
seeing what
you see what I'm saying?
Because
Because-
by the time you're actually through one, the amount of force you've had
Yeah.
to put in, the others have now closed
Exactly.
that range.
And if you're using a really long sword, right, like a great sword, if this gets stuck in the zombie, you can't withdraw it out of the body quick enough to try and defend and hit the other zombies.
Yeah.
And so having such a long sword actually might be a detriment in a horde scenario, especially if the weapon gets stuck. If you need to withdraw the weapon out, having a shorter, choppy sword, you could take out one with a solid hit, but I can withdraw it and keep swinging and hitting around. And so a shorter sword actually might be better to fend off zombies with, as long as it's focused on cutting, which actually oddly comes back to this monstrosity, because this is overly heavy.
Yes, it is, and it is. I wouldn't call that a monstrosity in a zombie apocalypse. I would call it an appropriate bar of iron.
So the question is, you would run into that issue with a really big sword like that. Okay.
You would.
Would you have that issue with a medium range sword? If you hit, I think I could withdraw this enough and still swing
think
it.
You would get rushed.
You still think you'd get
I would
rushed?
use a katana. They take sets, not easily,
If
but they're
you
more
could make
prone
it
to
out of
taking sets.
I honestly
good steel.
thought-
No, we can't keep doing that. We can't keep going. Well,
No,
what
yeah,
if it's
we're
just
talking
magic?
medieval.
What if
We're
it's just
talking
this?
medieval here.
No.
So,
Yeah.
A katana simply, it has one edge. I wouldn't go for one edge on anything simply because in an apocalypse, you don't have a lot of, you need these things. You need them as tools, you need them as other things. Having one edge to kill zombies, to cut your meat, to clear brush, to do all this, I want the extra versatility. That's also why I want the extra length. In terms of a primary weapon, because I don't think I would use this as a primary weapon. I'd use this as more if I'm in a tight spot and I need to just really dispatch with something. And then on top of that, if it breaks, I've got extra things, got double edges, blah, blah. As a primary weapon, I'm not too sure. I'm
All right,
still mulling that one
Yeah,
over.
I'm actually questioning if I would use a sword as a primary weapon, but now, just because we do love swords, if you had to pick a sword,
okay,
what sword would you pick? I think I know what I would pick.
I personally wouldn't pick a sword. I'd like a sword as a backup.
Could we also show the Nodachi? Because we have it here. People might not have seen our review of it.
Do you want to grab that?
People were like, one, the Nodachi has all the issues that we talked about, really long swords in being able to disengage it, pull it out of an enemy and keep swinging. The other issue is edge alignment sucks with Nodachis.
Yes.
If
And
you see a zombie coming and it's running at you, you don't have time to even draw the thing before it's on you.
This one in particular isn't like the best
I mean,
either. So
If we
it
could
does look
pretend
good.
huge swords like this were lightsabers and you could just chop through all 5 in a swing, yeah, that would be awesome. I would pick it any day. The issue is, in reality, that's going to get stuck in someone's spine or rib cage or neck.
I
You're not
thought
going
you
to.
were sticking on the lightsaber thing.
Swords can be good cutters, but cutting clean through a head is hard and not guaranteed.
Or even weight distribution is something I'd bring up for
Yes.
a large sword as well. This one is very, the weight is up here. I would not want that in an apocalypse. I'd actually want something like this, which is relatively nimble and it's
Yeah,
much better
we
balance.
actually have compared those two swords. This sword has such better balance and maneuverability.
I'm loath to agree with you, but yeah,
It's true.
It's true.
But the thing is, though, the length is the issue in terms of being able to do those follow-up attacks. So for me, I would want a sword not as big, on the short end, but really good at cutting, good steel, and the double edge, like, people always think katanas cut better. Like, they can be easy to cut with, but if you're trained, right, there are swords that can cut just as well as a katana. And the only thing that might tip it, because I think a katana is a pretty good pick in terms of the mid-range. You can withdraw, it's a good cutter and everything like that. The double edge element you bring up is actually important.
But
And
not only that, heat treatment. For a
Heat treat-
katana,
yes.
I just wouldn't want a traditional differential hardening.
Well, I
just
know,
wouldn't want
but
that.
this
I
one-
would want spring steel.
But this one is actually S5.
Yes, but we're not talking
shock
about,
steel.
you know, modern magic steel, yes.
The second edge is an important one, and because you can get double-edged swords that can cut as well as a katana, and then you have that second edge, I'm going back to the tried true. Like, this is on a slight bit shorter than longsword, so you can withdraw it easier, and it is a cutting beast, and you can follow up and just keep swinging it around. This would be my sword pick, I reckon. A heavy chopping bastard sword.
There's so much nuance in that.
It's
Because this particular sword here, we've used this for a lot, and it's not very good at getting perfectly clean cuts. But if you're cutting flesh and bone, you wouldn't particularly need that. So I'm not going to fault you for that. I wouldn't pick it because I hate the weight distribution on that thing.
I love it. What sword would you pick? If you had to pick a sword, what sword?
Just a regular sword?
Yeah. Out of all the swords, basically. And by the way,
I would probably go with Zyphos. Yeah, that is. This for
A
me.
shorter blade with a bit of heft at the top.
I
That's
probably wouldn't. This is a bit tricky because you're in a zombie apocalypse. Having more steel is good, but at the same time, I feel like this one's just a touch too heavy.
you'd tie that is
Especially down here, it's just a
it doesn't
bit too
need
heavy.
to be that
Yeah.
So that has 2 sort of scales opposite side of the tang. You could thin that tang down
Yeah.
and actually like make
Yes.
that a nice blade. But I feel like something like this, especially seeing as I am definitely going with the shield, like that's
it ticks all the boxes. It has weight distribution up here for chopping, and at the same time, it's double-edged. It's good.
It's actually
Also looks
it's one of
really
the better
balanced.
zombie swords I've found. That's why I bought it. I wasn't sponsored. It is not overly heavy, but that might be my second pick after the bastard sword, because the bastard sword is just more maneuverable, easy to use. It's great cutter, and it's also better steel.
So I have to say, and I know you were picking that. My backup sword, I was going to say, was an arming sword, because I like the idea of a backup weapon, maybe even a backup to a backup.
Yeah.
You have changed my mind on the backup. I definitely think that I will go with like.
Really?
Yeah, I think I will go with something like that because it does make more sense after
Mm-hmm.
you brought up those arguments. But a sword is not going to be my primary. As
Yes,
much as I love
'cause-
swords, a sword is not going to be.
So
my
what's going to be
primary.
your primary? Because I'm actually curious to hear what you are going to go for your primary.
I think for my primary, skipping over everything,
yeah.
I'm going to go for a hand axe because a hand axe has enough weight behind it to actually cleave through something. Maybe not this exact design, but not a big.
Did you want to
axe.
grab the other one over there?
Well, yeah, because I would probably pick something a little bit bigger that can be used in one hand or two.
yes.
See, I still want that maneuverability.
You have the maneuver, you just choke it up, and like, if I will step away. But this is actually a surprisingly maneuverable axe, and then you got the extra.
My only issue with this particular axe, and I love this axe,
Yes.
is once it gets damaged in terms of how it's actually constructed, this one you can just chuck a new, yeah, that one you can't. This one is more modern.
Yeah.
But
You
if it
do
wasn't-
need those screws to be able to put it in, but it's pretty durable.
Whereas something like this, I can just find almost.
Put a wedge
This
in
is
it.
this is the tough thing. I have trouble picking between the axe and the sword for a zombie apocalypse.
I also like this because
That's
if you are
great.
facing one zombie, you're actually able to control them.
Okay. So you could kill a zombie with one solid hit with this. Taking off a head is going to be like you have a smaller cutting ratio, and so to aim that hit so well when you're being rushed, I don't think that's going to be likely. Like this is.
I would actually counter that to say that you would need the same level of skill with the sword because if you miss, you go too high for the point of percussion or too low for the point of percussion on a sword. You don't have the cutting capability anymore.
But you can still cut really well. You do that with an axe.
don't think you'd be
you render a lethal strike into a pointless strike.
What about something like this?
Now,
This has a lot of.
A lot
that
of,
is-
in fact, arguably some of the most stopping power. But if you're grabbing
that
that,
is if I'm-
so in the polearm discussion, you have options, right? And look, this could destroy a zombie in one hit, solidly. Like, and even if you miss the axe head, there's so much weight and power. You're hitting them with a club, right? You would knock them off the feet. The issue that you have is the same issue with really long swords for me, is those follow-up strikes. If you're getting rushed, you need to be able to maneuver this in closer confines to be able to keep hitting.
but you
This is gonna be hard.
can maneuver it in closer confines. So there's an actual historical battle called the Battle of Stamford Bridge, where
Mm-hmm.
one guy with one of these held off an army to the point where there was a pile of bodies in front of him.
The issue is humans don't want to get hit. They might hesitate, and so if you're swinging it around, being intimidating, I think like 5 zombies rushing you that don't care they're going to die.
Yeah,
As
you
soon
might
as
fall
you
into
get
the-
stuck in the first one, and then they all hoard you, you're dead.
Yeah. So no spears.
Well, we have a gorgeous spear. I love this spear.
Absolutely, really nice hewing spear. But
It's
it'd
not-
be horrible.
it's not gonna
I mean,
do
you
the
could
job.
chop a little with it.
It's not going to do the job.
How strong are the zombies? Because what I'm thinking with something like this is, or something with a long pole, is you can keep them at bay. You can keep them at bay, especially if you have hand protection. They can't bite you, they can't get at you. But I don't know how strong they are. If there's like 10 of them.
That's exactly why I like that weapon, the Vector Corbin. Now, ideally, I'd like a little handheld one to carry around while I'm, going out foraging for berries, unless of course you have Hello Fresh. But when you're behind a wall, if this so happens to get stuck in the zombie, you, for all intents and purposes, have a crossguard holding them at bay. The problem is you've run out of lethality. You no longer have anything you can
Yeah,
do with them.
and it does mix up the analysis when you think versus one zombie versus multiple. One zombie, hell yeah.
But yeah.
Just one solid hit, it's going down, no sweat. It's the multiple zombies that throw me with something, because this has such great stopping power, but not follow-up power. I reckon if you had a group of guys, maybe, that were there to back you up, and you're doing like just solid downward strikes, and they're keeping the rest at bay. But if it's just you against 5 zombies, I don't think a polearm is going to be great.
The weight of this here, this is heavy.
Yeah,
Once you
you
start
would get it.
swinging that around for
Yeah.
more than a minute straight,
I
you're
would
going
want
to
to be on a
start
battlement. Hence saying I would like a one-handed version of that, or I want to be on a battlement and using it basically facing down, stabbing at zombies, hacking at them, doing
But-
whatever I needed to do.
You are holding a
Your
interesting weapon there. This is technically Morningstar, but it's a type of mace, essentially. Okay. One solid hit to the head.
Yep.
You're going to crush the skull.
Yep.
The zombie goes down. It's not going to get really stuck in it, because there's not too much to get stuck, right?
It's going to be like
and then
one
you
of the
can
messier
keep
weapons.
swinging around. My issue is any hit other than a headshot isn't going to incapacitate him. You're not going to really take off an arm with this, or legs, or even be able to chop through half the torso and drop him. Like that's the issue. There's, there's a lot of give and take. There's not. I'm starting to find there's no perfect weapon that's better than all other weapons. Each has their unique strengths.
Their own pros and cons. What about if we go back to the classic stick, the classic Shadiversity stick?
It's a pretty.
But if you're going to go for a stick, just go for a spear.
It's a
and then
pretty
you get
pathetic-
a spear and a
It's just
stick.
a basic stick.
If you're gonna be
But like your
Nate, if you're gonna use a stick, use a proper stick. See,
that's
this,
a haft.
This is a stick. Look, same issue. Club. This is not as lethal as this.
No,
So
but you can swing
mace.
that for longer than you can swing that.
Depends.
I swung maces that are just a brass ring on top of the stick.
Something this heavy, if
And
it was real. Okay, so I'm stuck between an axe and sword.
I think I would go double sword. I think I would.
Oh,
go,
you're dead.
I would go
you're
with
dead.
this
Really,
and
two-handed sword.
this.
Nah,
Both of these.
this is my primary, and the Vector Corben is my backup for when I am in a well-defended position.
Because
Okay.
like, don't get me wrong, I can agree. Yeah, I'd probably have a shield or something. I'd be wearing armor.
Oh,
sure.
now you're a shield.
Armor.
Well, if we get it for free, then yeah, I'd have it.
I still think a katana is a great pick. I think that's one of the areas where they excel. But the issue is, like, if it's a traditional made katana, no. And double edges. And so, again, I fall back to this has got such great cutting capacity and it's maneuverable. I'll probably have, like, this or an axe. I don't know. This is. Oh, look, you know what? It's the cutting ratio. Like, if you miss with an axe,
Exactly, yes.
you're going down.
And-
it's so much harder to miss the strike with the sword.
It's kind of hard to explain, but I feel like you use more energy in an axe strike
You
than
kinda
a
do,
sword.
because-
Yeah.
So this would
I'd still be more than happy to fight like this.
Yeah, I
would.
what would be my two? So this is one of them.
Like, don't get me wrong. You will look badass, and your epitaph,
Is
the
it-
writing on your tombstone, I'm sure, will tell a legendary tale.
Is it a strength issue, Nate? Is that why?
It's dumb to fight with two swords.
You seem to
No,
like
he
small
he
swords.
wouldn't dual wield them. He would
Yeah.
weak one or the
This
other.
one is going to be on my back while I tear people apart with this. Yeah.
Oh, okay.
And then this one is, in case of emergencies. When I want some range, but I also want,
That's a good pick.
I know it's a good pick.
I'm trying to decide.
That's why I picked it.
Would you pick that the two-handed sword over a Dane axe? Is it the issue
Yes.
of the?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like, this can keep you at a pretty good length. And I've got two edges again, and then if it breaks, I can, salvage it and turn it into other weapons.
And you can pick if you want the reach, the extra cutting capacity.
And you don't
versus,
have to
like,
use it as primary.
Arguably, this can cut as well because there's more concentrated weight and maneuverability. Oh, I might have to agree with you there, Tyrant.
Having
Big
more
sword,
materials.
a big sword, and
yeah.
a more medium grade
Yeah.
maneuverable sword.
And don't get me wrong, I didn't go into this thinking I was going to pick two swords. I knew that I'd pick like a sword, but I thought I'd go for something like an axe. But the more I think about it, it's just it uses too much energy. There's too much of a risk. You got to get closer with something like that.
I actually went into this thinking that a sword would be my backup, but the more and more I'm thinking about it,
They're
the more
surprisingly
I'm
good.
The more I'm probably wanting a sword as a primary. As much as I know historically, a sword was a backup. Can we get more of these? I like this.
I mean, I'm so tempted to have like maybe a polearm instead of the two-handed sword, but it's the cutting ratio of the two-handed sword.
If you're
Yeah.
entrenched, like any of these are going
Yeah.
to work, but you need to be in a defended position because of that rush.
Why would I never pick something like this? The reason is very simple. Just wait 1 second. Because I can get stick from ground, so I'm not going to choose stick. I can just
But
get
that's
stick.
stick plus.
Yeah, this is lots
Stick
of
plus?
metal.
Yeah.
There's more stick than plus there, so I'm gonna go with weapons rather than something that's a stick. I was like, we can get sticks everywhere.
It's the king of the battlefield, but I know it's zombies.
Yes.
Okay, I actually wasn't thinking swords would be the top.
Yeah.
Like,
Because historically they weren't. And, Hollywood has said swords are the ultimate thing, and they're kind of one of the coolest weapons that exist. But at the same time, in reality, you don't usually use a sword as a primary. And yet,
people might be watching this thinking, are you crazy? An axe has so much more stopping power. It depends on the type of sword, though. You can get, like, this is a heavy gear chopping sword.
this
And
is
same with that.
That's heavy.
This.
And that's heavy at the head, but that is better balanced
Yeah.
with not as much weight. But
It's got more reach. And you could, another thing, thrusting, right? We say less, but imagine
You
you,
know what?
thrust this under the jaw of a zombie into the brain.
I have an idea.
You would kill it.
I would like to hear what you guys think about this.
We need, what are your thoughts in the comments? But what's fun about this, It's actually a far more sophisticated, complex discussion than
Don't get
just
me wrong,
like,
I love axes. I genuinely love axes. It's just the more I think about this, I only have this much cutting capacity. It uses a lot of strength to move it very quickly in an enclosed space, that sort of stuff. Where a sword, I just feel like I have more versatility. I have more danger all around it.
cutting ratio.
Yeah.
And
so-
funnily enough, my normal love for crossguards has gone out the window until we hit the I'm in an entrenched position and I want the back to Corbin because I want to keep them at range. So something like,
I mean, hey, I would put a crossguard on this.
you don't need it in a zombie apocalypse fighting people.
You
maybe.
could find uses for it.
I just want one. I
Imagine
don't
you come
need
across a
reason.
zombie with a particularly solid skull.
Yeah, all right. All right. I don't like being the zombie. In this.
Yeah.
Think of it more this way. Imagine this is a long sword and the zombie's trying to reach for you. They're going to be trying to get your hand. So if you have something there, like a nice long crossguard, just little things like that where...
You give yourself a hammer if you have it. You have a nice piece of like, piece knot around there. You can string it up and actually use it like a big one. All right, yeah.
Guys, let us know what you think in the comments below. What would be your pick? The best medieval weapon that you think you would use for a zombie apocalypse? Let us know in the comments below. Thank you for watching, and if you want to see more, well, we've actually made some improvised zombie weapons from
we have.
just DIY, like if you went to the hardware store making zombie weapons.
I liked my one.
I won that one.
It doesn't matter who won. I like my one because it was the most
It
chaotic.
matters to us, Nate.
No, it was most chaotic. It was
I think we could just do better.
we
I
could
think
do better.
that's something we could revisit. But check out the video, it's a lot of fun. Hope to see you there.